Shut up and sit down.
Hey, what's happening, guys? This is Carlos Redlick and David Allen from the Takeover Tuesday show. This is episode 10. David, you there?
I am here, brother. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, man. Happy New Year to everybody who's listening to this. How was your thing, man? Did you do anything special?
Yeah, we had, well, aside from having some adult beverages, of course, there is a ritual here in New Orleans of going down to the river, down to the Mississippi to watch the fireworks along the river bank in the French Quarter. So, yeah, most about my friends and I ended up doing that after drinking profusely for a bit.
Hell yeah, man. That sounds sweet. Good
And what about
shit.
what about you?
Nothing as exciting. Just went visited family, hung out there, did some family stuff. Yeah, I think yours sounds a little bit cooler. I'll have to do that maybe next year.
Yeah, you're going to New Orleans.
Yeah, right. So I know one of the things that we were talking about, and one of the things we like to kind of keep talking about is consistency and hustling and everything. But consistency is kind of like the number one thing I would say that separates people who are amateurs from professionals. You know what I mean? It's Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways you can look at. I mean, you can look at anybody from the Cardone or the Vaynerchuks or whoever, or just look at yourself. I mean, are you performing on a consistent level? Because I think that in kind of today's society, it's becoming way more consistent to be let down, right? So if you ask somebody to come and mow your lawn or work on your house or do the cabinets or work on your fucking roof or whatever, they'll be like, okay, well, I'll be there, maybe from 8 to 4 p.m. Oh, you're like, are you fucking kidding me? What do you mean 8 to 4 p.m.? You can't do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then sometimes they won't show up. And then, as far as copywriters concerned, copywriters do the same thing. Yeah, we'll have this done by this time, and then we don't get it done. And then we're like, oh, fuck. In a place where people are so inconsistent, I think one of the biggest things you could do to boost yourself to success is being consistent and doing something good and just rinse and repeating something that you can do every day. Like, I mean, we do this podcast every Monday, right? So consistently, we're going to do it every Monday because every Tuesday we're going to bring it or we're going to publish it or put it out or whatever. And we don't fail. This is our 10th episode, so I guess 10th week doing this or whatever. But it's doing stuff like that and doing it every single day with different things and just having those automated things that you've got to stay consistent. I mean, that's really what's going to kind of separate you and give you the skills necessary to fucking go out and dominate and take shit over. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I know when it comes to street performing, we always talk about, and this applies to other fields equally, is that 80% of it is just showing up. So you gotta be out there. So whether it's meeting with clients or it's cold calling or whatever lead generation thing you're gonna do for your business, or if you're do what I do, which is street perform, you have to go out and actually street perform. And so that consistency of trying to do it every day, I've sort of found for myself that I find it a lot more difficult if I don't do something every day to make it to stay consistent. So I have to do something. Like if it's go to the gym, I have to do it every day. Even if I'm not going to go hard every day, I have to at least go every day, or else I'm not going to be consistent.
Yeah, I mean, all the best things are done with consistency. I mean, it's whether it's street performing, getting in shape, nothing is done overnight. Nothing worth it is really done overnight. You know what I mean? And I even hate saying that because actually you can make a fuckload of money overnight. That's really not true. You can really make a fuckload. I've seen people make fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars, like literally overnight. Now, you didn't see it overnight because you see all the people, they built the list, they've done a lot of shit beforehand. But I mean, you can actually make money overnight. That's fucking stupid to say now. But it's a lot of the shit that you did, let's say, consistently throughout the day. Maybe you sent a bunch of emails. There's a lot of prep work to make shit happen, whether it's in a short time frame or not in a short time frame or whatever. But it's just being able, like you said, like we've been going over, is just kind of being consistent and having those rituals that you've got to do every day. And personally, I think it's, when people have rituals, it's interesting because they have these rituals like to be happy. Like I have a ritual to wake up every day and tell myself, I'm awesome, I am awesome, I am awesome. Like that's fucking great, but maybe you should do something awesome every day also. You know what I mean? Like you got to be able to do stuff. So if you're going to have a ritual, make it a ritual where it's action taking. Like I'm gonna go run every. I respect run. I'm personally not a runner. I hate it. I think it's terrible. It's fucking horrible. It's the worst thing in the world. But you know,
I'm with you on that one. Yeah.
but the people who run, I mean, they've got incredible discipline. Wake up at 5 in the morning, whatever they wake up at, and then just go do their 5 or 10 or whatever miles it is that they do, and then they start their day. I mean, it's something that's an action oriented thing that you've got to do. You've got to stay consistent. Doing videos is a great way of being consistent. Doing podcasts. It's just doing shit that's actually moving you forward. I think a lot of times we get caught up in studying shit. We get caught up in the consistency of just learning. And that just feels cool. And it's cool to talk about. But if you actually want to do shit, like you've got to have some sort of dream or some reason you're doing something that you've got to fucking like do it. You know what I mean? Like, what are you working towards? Because you're not going to do it if you're just learning. So make all of your rituals, make everything you're doing something that's going to be consistently taking action over fucking time. If that makes any sense.
Oh no, it completely does. I'm often reminded when this kind of topic comes up of, I think it's a quote attributed to Mark Twain, where he said that somebody asked him, "When do you write?" And he said, "Well, I only write when I'm inspired," which thankfully is every morning at 8 a.m. So that's kind of the same idea. And of course, I think both of us into the copywriting world, of course, Eugene Schwartz is a very famous copywriter, and he would write every day, and he would set his egg timer to like 33 minutes and 33 seconds or something, and he would sit down and just write. I think there is a lot of this, like, I don't know how inspiration became a thing where people were like, I'm going to wait till I'm inspired and then write. It's much better to just make a habit of writing and then just write every day, or whatever you're going to do every day.
It's funny you say that because you definitely get more stuff through action. Like I was just watching a TV show. I don't have kids or any of that shit, so I could be off the ball here. But there was a TV show where one of these people, like a father, was trying to figure out how to have like a certain hard conversation, not just a sex talk, but certain hard conversations, I guess, with their kid. And they were just like, "How do I bring it up?" And I'm just like, in the TV show, it's so obvious to me because I'm like, well, you're not going out, you're not doing anything with your kid. You're just gonna randomly come home from work and have a fucking sit down convo. Well, that's clearly stupid. Like that doesn't make sense to you. So you don't do that. Instead, you go out and take action with the kid and let's go fucking play football. Let's go to a baseball game. Let's go take fucking a carnival. Let me put you through some fucking shit that you're gonna react in a way. Now we can kind of see, did you grow from this? Or did we go camping and you learned how to fucking pitch a tent on your own? Now you're like, oh, I know how to do that for the rest of my life. When you do shit like that, it's gonna fucking bring no. That's what I was saying is just when you do shit like that, it's going to bring up those opportunities. You can't wait for that opportunity or that inspiration to just pop into your life. You've got to just fucking create that, and that's created through action.
Yeah, I think it's to throw out another sort of saying that we may all be familiar with. Some of the people listening to here is, I think it was Gary Halbert who said, motion beats meditation, or is greater than meditation, or something to that effect. Yeah, it's just doing stuff gets stuff done faster than just thinking or planning stuff, and it creates a better habitual system for yourself. If you decide to, like, the writing that you may not do, like I mentioned, the Gene Schwartz or the Mark Twain, that stuff that you may write may turn out to be shit, but you're writing, and some of that stuff will be good once you've sort of broken through that initial inertia of getting into something. Are you like that, Carlos, when you write, when you do copywriting and stuff? I knew when I would write emails, when I write emails and sales material, the first little bit's always like, this, it's like you're getting warmed up. It's like you're shooting free throws before the basketball game or something like that.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm actually, the copy I'm writing now, it's about 11 pages what I've got so far for this one offer I'm writing for. And I wrote the first part maybe within a day and a half or so. I just kind of wrote the whole letter out. Now a lot of that letter has been scrapped and fucking changed and shit. And there's a lot of good stuff in there. But the thing is, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I'll usually just start, if I don't know what to write, I resort to formulas. So if I don't have a fucking story I'm gonna write with, because I like to open with stories, but I don't have one yet, then I'll just start with the common copy formula, which is the if then why. Like if you're looking for this mouse for your computer, then this will be the most important message you ever read, and here's why. Yada yada yada. And that just spawns shit, and then I just write it all, and then just like that, just like in anything, once it's already out there and you're starting to see everything, you just can adjust. You know what I mean? Just like taking action consistently every day is going to create those opportunities for you rather than just kind of letting it hopefully miraculously fall into your lap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I see it a lot more that people are sort of, there's a lot of that. I think writer's block and all that stuff is all sort of a product of that waiting, planning, studying, waiting to be inspired uh, formula. Whereas a lot of the people who really get shit done and really are successful, they just do. They don't wait for something. They don't wait for permission or whatever. They just
Yeah.
go for it.
What's that one saying? There's a saying that's like, you don't beg for, don't ask for
Oh yeah,
permission, forgiveness or something. I love that.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
fucking,
yeah. It's better to ask for forgiveness and permission, right?
yeah, exactly. It's fucking, it's true. It's the best way to do it, you know? Well, hey, what are some of the things that you do consistently every day to make you better?
Well, of course I perform. Weather, weather aside, I perform every single day. And when it comes to street performing, there is a very much like building. You're essentially building a business because your show is essentially your business. Your show is what's going to generate the revenue. How good's your show? How much does it connect with the people that you're performing for? And sort of all that. And there is sales techniques and so forth built into good shows to make people give more money and so forth. But you have to do it every day because there's this. And I think we've talked about this before in the podcast. There's this process of iteration. So especially at the beginning, you have to go through like the first 1,000 shows to even get any sort of selection of what's going on, to get any sort of idea of like, is any of this good? But you need like 1,000 shows to even start to make considerations. I was like, is any of the things I'm doing right now could stay in the show? Is it connecting with anybody? Because you need reference material to then build. It's like building products. You come up with that first one, you may show it to a few people or something like that and say, what do you think of this, and blah blah. And then you have to continue to refine. And for street performing, the hard part is not the medium. It's probably not the songs you're playing or the magic tricks in my case that you're doing. It's the everything else. It's the words that you're going to say. It's the jokes that you're going to do, the gags, the interaction with the audience. Are you going to bring the spectator up? What's going on in the sort of interaction, rapport building side of things? And so, yeah, the only way you can do that is to do it every day. There are people I've encountered when I'm on the road that say, "Oh yeah, I busk, I street perform," and they don't come out every day. And immediately when you see them perform, you can tell. I can tell when I see people just in any other venue. If I go to a stage show or something, I can tell the people, oh, this guy hasn't done this very much at all, because you can just tell because people refine stuff very quickly on the street because you're doing so many shows a day. You're out there just performing without any sort of restrictions in terms of like, no one's hired you, so you can do as many shows as you wish. And that gets you good very fast because you can just bang out shows all day and refine these things a lot faster. It is said by a very famous street magician that 1 year on the street equals 10 years indoors. So that's why, because you're just constantly working more than you would if you were waiting to be hired.
Yeah, and you're getting the actual interaction and feedback. I mean, they have the same thing kind of saying in sales. I forget how long it is, but basically, X amount of months in the field will give you so much more experience than just sitting in an office or reading a book or fucking studying. You spend 3 or 4 months doing sales calls in the field, talking to hundreds of thousands of fucking people, like you're gonna actually get something. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna learn. I think a lot of the stuff that you're saying is really cool because it's geared towards not just taking action, but you're actually being self-aware and aware of what other people are saying. So you're actually taking what they're saying and refining what it is that your act is or whatever it is that you're performing. And it is kind of like a performance, no matter what you're doing, whether it's a magic thing or if it's a fucking singing or if you're in a sales performance. I mean, it's still a performance. When I'm in a sales call for a copywriting project, let's say, I'm still performing. It's a performance
Yeah, it's a
from the
show. Yeah.
Yeah, it's from the ad to the Facebook message to how, I mean, now that I've been talking so much about closing and copy and all this shit, I've actually had people come up to me, and not come up to me in person, but Facebook message me and stuff for projects. and they'll give me an objection just on purpose to see if I'm really about what I'm saying. And so they'll be, hey, well, they'll get on the phone with me and they'll say, yeah, that was really good. I think I just got to talk to, my business partner and we'll iron it out and see if we get back to you. I'm like, hey, man, I totally appreciate that. I can understand that too. But I'm assuming you and your business partner got into a relationship together because you trust each other. Am I right?
Right.
Yeah, you're. So would you think he would trust you with a $6,500 decision to make you $1 million if you guys are already making whatever the situation, whatever. And well, yeah, but I still kind of want to run it by him. Hey, man, I understand that too. Who wouldn't want to run it by him? But if we ran everything by everybody, we would never get shit done. Now, I'm not here trying to hard close you. The only reason I'm taking this to this step is because I want to get started today. And I've seen too many people, regardless of income levels, fucking get fear of success. And I talk like that. I cuss and everything. I mean, fucking fear of success because of the first sign. Oh, I got to invest $6,500. I got to run a bit. I got to go ask my wife. Maybe I can get permission to go out and play today. Whatever the fuck it is. And a lot of times you just need to commit. Listen, it's going to be $6,500 whether you go with me, whether you go with somebody else. Give or take a few thousand, maybe some percentages. Let's just get it done now. I'm going to fucking crush it. And if I don't, I'm going to revise it 2 times. Very few copywriters will do that. Does that sound like something that's going to really, I mean, I'm not in this to just $6,500. My goal is millions. So if I'm going to actually work with you, I want it to be a long-term relationship. Do you want a long-term relationship, or are you looking for just kind of a fly-by-night copywriter? Oh, I'm looking for a fuck. Yeah, okay. Well, then let's do this, dude. Let's do it. What the fuck are you waiting for? And I'm just like, and then they told me after, they're like, you know what? I really just wanted to know if you were about this shit because I see your videos and they're really good. And I see you in the cult of copy all the time. You're getting famous in the cult of copy and, blah, blah, blah. I just wanted to see if you actually do this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, dude.
Right. No, it's true. It's action,
Yeah, it's a performance the whole way through, dude. It's action, getting feedback, but then people are gonna call you on your shit, or people are gonna give you good or positive, whatever feedback you want to call it. But it's just feedback. It's a response. Don't take anything personally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't. Whenever I hand in my copy, I know this may sound weird to some copywriters. I always expect, even if it doesn't always happen, I always expect the client to be like, "I don't think this is gonna work. We need to fix this." I just expect it to happen.
Oh,
like
yeah.
It's just. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Oh, yeah. I think we all expect that maybe on some level.
yeah. I'm like, and if it's something I think we can test it or whatever, I'm like, no, we definitely got to test this. But if it's something, but I really, sometimes you have to listen to what they say because sometimes like they actually put out a good point. Like I've actually adjusted certain things that have given a few boosts and percentages in response because of what the client said, because they're like, this isn't going to work for my market. I'm like, are you sure? I'm pretty sure it's going to work. And like, no, no, no. I see what you're saying, but I don't think it's going to work. I'm like, okay, well, let's see. And I just kind of looked at it, seemed reasonable. I tried it, and then I'm like, oh shit, that stuff works. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think we've probably, because we both studied copywriting and some of the masters and stuff, we've all heard stories of, some of the famous A-list copywriters talking about how they came up with a promotion, which was killing it, and for some reason the client just stopped running it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they're like, "What are you doing?" And of course, by that time, you have no control over it. And they just got bored, or they just they were almost tired of success or something. It's like this weird human condition of like we are trying to avoid success at every opportunity.
Yeah, it's funny. It's kind of funny how a lot of this shit works with copy. But I mean, just with anything, it doesn't always matter if like what they're saying is true or not true. Just listen to it. I think as copywriters, a lot of times, because we put I'm putting a lot of work into this VSL, and if I give it to my client, he's like, hey, let's scratch this out. What do you think of this? I mean, he fortunately, actually, I don't think will do it. He'll just take it and put it up.
Right.
But you just
like any copywriting client should.
Yeah. It was funny, actually. Alvin Huang, I was thinking I'm gonna fuck up his last name. He's gonna come down on me and fuck me up too. But he was, I think, the first person. He's kind of not my first client that's like a big ticket guy or whatever, but he was kind of the first one who told me your shit sucks. It's not so good right now, in a very polite way when I first met him or first talked to him online. And then 6-7 months later, I kept harassing him and shit, and he's like, all right, let me give you a fucking shot. You know what I mean? And he gave me a shot. He likes the copy, but he's the first person who's like, hey man, yeah, whatever you say, you can name the product, whatever you want, I don't really care. Just fucking, you're the copywriter. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. you know?
Well, I think people don't
So,
really, and this is a little copywriting tangent, but I've encountered this myself. Is like you've hired somebody to do something. Like if I hired somebody to cut my grass, as a poor example, I don't go out there and try to micromanage the cutting of the grass. I assume this person, they showed up with a lawnmower and a weed eater or whatever. They know what they're doing, so I at least let them do it. And now if I come back later and the grass is like half cut or it's fucked up, whatever, okay, but I let him do his job first, and then I waited to see what the opportunity was. I've had people try to correct clients, try to correct. I think I know why Gary Halbert wore a hat that said "clients suck," because I mean, because this is a sort of a broad sweeping generalization, but people have tried to correct it for like weird stuff that has no impact on anything. They're kind of just like, oh, just don't like the way this sounded. You know, forget
yeah,
forget that.
yeah,
This is you're trying to sell something. You're trying to be a ruthless mercenary here. Fuck that shit.
yes, exactly, exactly. It's the
So
truth.
yeah, it is. It really is. It's and it's copywriting is weird. People look at it who aren't into copywriting, and they kind of look at it, I think, and they're sort of like, what? They can't see it. They can't see the matrix, basically.
You know what I think? Because I understand exactly what you're saying, because I've had obviously the same experience. I think every copywriter can relate to that. And I kind of just had to think back from a second. So the only reason they're not putting out what we say is because they don't yet feel we're expert enough or trust us enough to actually make that kind of call or decision. They're basically taking a leap of faith on us. At least that's how that's what they think. So really, it's, in my opinion, the copywriter's fault for being in that situation. So what we should think as copywriters is consistently sell them, not just after they fucking say, here's, your first check. Well, let me wait for the copy. You know what I mean? And then don't talk to them for like 3 months till the shit's done. It's ridiculous. Like, obviously, they have no faith in you. You've got to be on there like it's your baby. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of times when you do that, you build a lot more trust. But I think if, hold on, I'm pacing, so I'm going to run out of breath here. Let me sit down.
He's getting
I get
worked up,
happy
people.
about
He's
this.
getting worked up. This shit's
Get
important.
worked up over here. I'm trying to like conserve my. Now I can talk up because I'm sitting down. I'm like fucking walking around pacing. I'm like, holy shit, I'm running out of breath here. Good God, I gotta sit down. Fucking So, but yeah, I think if we as copywriters are able to just kind of own up to that and be like, look, I understand they're a fucking business owner. They've got way more skin in the game than I do. So obviously, they just at the end want their shit to convert. They want everything to look good, whatever, whatever. Like if they just fucking trust you, they'll do anything you want. So if they don't trust you, it's your fault.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying, and yeah, I mean, I think we've all sort of had the good clients who are just like, yeah, man, I'm hiring you, so I'm taking whatever you're saying as gospel, and you have the other clients who are like trepidatious about absolutely everything because they've never hired a copywriter before. They maybe in some small way in the back of their mind, they're not even sure if this is a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, as a copywriting fucking industry, we have got to just kind of own up to a lot of shit because we have a lot of times, okay, assuming you've got the skills to back up your shit, because sometimes you just have a lot of good talkers and people who just suck at copy, and that's just kind of shitty, but whatever. So assuming you can actually do the copy and everything, just like take control of this shit. A lot of the clients want to make sure you're not just this copywriter for in it for the first check. You've got skin in. That's why I think offering percentages and royalties often, depending on what level of client you have, they actually prefer that. Though, like I have one client who won't work unless you do percentages because he's like, well, I mean, I want some fucking skin in the game from you. You know what I mean? So I mean, it makes sense. But I don't know. I think as just an overall copywriting group, I'm standing up again. What am I doing? Let me sit down. We need to fucking
Getting worked is like a prize fight today, Carlos.
Yeah, it is. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm a prize fighter. I would have to go on the treadmill before doing that. That's funny. But but we no, definitely just having to own up to it, being like, look, if they're not doing what I say, it's my fault, right? If somebody hasn't heard of Carlos Redlick, the copywriter, and they're in the internet marketing world and they're fucking successful, at least 7 figures or more, then it's my fault. It's not their fault. It's my fault, right? So if they don't fully trust me to put out my shit, it's my fault because I've come short and I haven't made them trust me like as if
Right.
like their fucking life
You haven't
depended. If
done.
coffee is really the oxygen of your fucking business, then you don't ever cut off the oxygen supply. The only reason you don't do that is because you think the doctor doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
just
yeah.
got out.
No, you haven't. And in that case, you haven't sold them
Exactly.
completely.
You've basically sold them on one thing, which is like they're okay with losing out $6,000 or $8,000 because they know they make $1 million a month. So they're like, I'll lose this. Maybe we'll get a good copywriter, maybe not, but I'm still scared. I don't trust this motherfucker. You
Yeah,
got
can't blame them.
after you sell them, yeah, but after you sell them on that first transaction, you've got to continue to show appreciation, give fucking tips on other fucking squeeze pages and shit that you're not even writing. Don't write it for them, but be like, dude, you need to add
Yeah,
dear friend.
deliver.
Yeah, like, why don't you put dear friend at the top of all your fucking shit? It's going to increase response by 20%, or throw in a little 2-3 sentence story in here to boost some response, dude. What are you doing? You know what I mean? All right, well, now that I've helped you with that, I'm going to go do what you paid me for and shit. But like, continuously over deliver. Get on their fucking list, because if they're like motherfuckers like done more than any of the copywriters I've ever talked to, or this person works better than my assistant, like motherfucking, that's good.
Yeah. No, it
That's
is.
good.
And it's I think that, and tying this back into our consistency theme today, uh, once you're working with somebody like that, you're always kind of selling them throughout. Like there's like a, I hesitate to call it babysitting, but that's basically what it is, where you're reinforcing what you've already sold them on as it goes along. You're continuing to, like you said, to continue to touch base and
Yeah,
reinforce how this is going to go, and what the expectations are, and how it's going to, because you do it enough, you know this is going to work, but they don't know that, so you have to continually reinforce the fact. I mean, it's like anything. If you encounter somebody who's not confident about just fill in the blank about whatever it is, then you're like, okay, well, and then you have these, like, yeah, you have these doubts, which is what they have. So
exactly. You're not confident. I'm not confident. If you're confident, I'm confident. You know what you're doing. You
yeah,
know what I mean? So that's part of the fucking game.
it is.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, wow, we did go over a decent amount of stuff right there, but I think that's basically it. Just not when we say at least when I say consistency, it obviously means in some good shit. And a lot of times, I'll just relate one more time to the copywriting thing, because obviously I know we have a lot of copywriters and people do that shit here. So one of the things that I was kind of not criticized about, but advised about, is whenever you have a retainer client, you want to make sure that one of the biggest issues is, all right, this person may have written me like a multi-million-dollar letter this one month, but they haven't done anything the last 2 months. So what have you done to basically justify your, $10,000, $20,000, whatever it is per month retainer? Because you're not writing right now, right? So I kind of see what that, obviously that comes as, okay. When I hear that shit, to me, I'm like, well, that's, I guess, if you're just a normal human being, that's going to be like, okay, I've got a job. I have one VSO, one email, and one sales letter to write every month. Okay. And that's all I'm going to do. Well, that's stupid. No. Let's say I fucking write a multi-million-dollar letter and they have nothing in the pipeline or whatever I mean, they usually will, but let's say they have nothing in the pipeline, then I'm always over delivering with free consultations. I'm fucking on the phone with them once a week. All my clients I talk with at least once a week. The ones that are retainer. I have 3 retainer clients, well, 2 really now. And we just talk every single week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, and we're just fucking hammering out ideas. Whether it's not products, it's a little mastermind session. So I'm not just a fucking copywriter. I'm a
Yeah,
business
you're a
mind that's going to
consultant,
help you with the overall scheme. Exactly. And I'm not getting paid for it. I
right?
mean, I am getting paid for it, but
Yeah,
that's not part of my job.
right.
You know what I mean? I'm just
Yeah,
doing it. I'm like, so when
you're
you're gonna hop on
over
the
delivering.
phone,
Yeah,
yeah, it's taking full ownership and being consistent with the image of being a hardworking copywriter that, yeah, wants to make multiple millions of dollars, but wants to do it. I mean, my whole image that I try to portray is basically what I think I am and what I want to be: a hardworking copywriter that will give you results. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna sit there and fucking make it work, because you're paying me basically. I call it's a retainer, but basically it's salary plus commission, right? You get a retainer, and I can work with whoever I want, whenever I want, yada, yada, yada. But whatever, I get a steady amount of money. So I just want to make sure you guys are fully good and sold, and I just want to do whatever. Like, you just over deliver. It's
yeah.
not,
It's
you
not
know what I
rocket
mean?
science. Yeah,
It's not. 1920s hard work ethic, whatever the fuck it is, with new age technology. People just want some appreciation and some hard work and somebody who's going to be loyal and consistent. You know
yeah.
what I mean? It's
I agree. And on that note, I will say, and to tie this back to the very opening statements we made today in this podcast about consistency, is that the customer service in this world right now is at an all-time low from my experience. And like I was in picking up someone at the airport the other day, and we were in a IHOP briefly just for coffee, just waiting for the plane to land. And the people we were sat, and then the waitress literally did not come over for like 20 minutes. We weren't even sure if she was,
That's
maybe
crazy.
she got killed in the back or something. I have no idea. She barely, and then finally she showed up, and we just wanted coffee because we're waiting for the plane. So it stands out so much if you do customer service properly, and like what you just talked about, over delivering and so forth. It stands out so much more nowadays because customer service is so bad that
Yep.
you can't help but being successful, because people like, holy, because it's like a red, a big red flag waving in people's face of like, oh my god, this person actually delivered what they say they're going to do. Nobody does that nowadays.
That's so funny. It's so true. I actually, from this recent trip in Miami, I've been able to encounter mostly really, really good service, and then a handful, like not even a handful, maybe like one or two people who are really shitty. And I eat at pretty much the same spots in Miami. So if you give me bad service, but I like the 3 or 4 other servers there, I'm still gonna go, but I'm just gonna basically tell you to fuck off. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm the customer. Fuck you. So, like I basically will give like our tab, it was like in our breakfast or whatever, my girlfriend and I tab is like 20-25 bucks or something. So it's not expensive, right? So I'm like, all right, I can still tip decently with this shit because it's not like a $400 tab or some crazy shit. So all right, the people who always hook it up were always really, they don't even hook it up. They just like they give me water and coffee, like the only two things I really ask for, and they just refill it without me asking. They're like normal human beings. And I always, if it's 25 bucks, I give them a $25 tip. If it's 20 bucks, I get a $20 tip. Every single time I just match whatever the fuck they give me. And I go there every single fucking day. So it's like that shit adds up. So I know they love me for a reason because I tip them. And then the other lady is an asshole. She fucking hates. She's like, "Oh my god, you don't know how to order. You don't want this here. Just write your order down for." I'm like, "This is the worst service I've ever had." And I gave her like a $1.07 tip or some shit, and I was like, "Fuck you."
Yeah. Well,
Then I complained to her manager on Facebook, and I was like, "Dude, you just turned a loyal person. They know who I am." And I'm like, "You make me never want to go there because this one lady. You should absolutely fire her. She is the cancer of your organization." And she didn't get fired, but she got like demoted to like 1 day a week or some shit, and she's never there when I'm there. So I was like, "Good, fuck that lady."
yeah,
That's
well,
what you get.
we're doing her a favor. You're doing her a favor, Carlos, because she doesn't like doing that job anyway. So
Yeah, I told her
no.
she should leave. I'm like, "You don't even like being here, so you should just take off." Like, why are you here? Just dip. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, I am so like surprised when people just do their job and they have a smile on their face and they have good service that I will fucking tip exactly what it is that my check is. Like, I don't care because it's so rare to me. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and as for someone who works for tips a lot, street performing, then yeah, I live in a tipping mindset as well myself, and it's really obvious to people. I had a guy here last year, another place we go to all the time that's right near where I street perform a lot, said to the came and told me one day, one of the waiters said, I kept bringing you Cokes, but the other guy who was actually your waiter, he didn't want to bring you any more Cokes. He said, no, he had two. He actually said to me, no, he had two. He had two already. I'm not going to bring him anymore. And the other waiter said like, fuck that. I'll bring him the Cokes then. Who cares? It's just whatever. And I said, you know what? I tipped that guy just outright, even though he wasn't my waiter. I was like, because you actually get what's going on here, and that guy clearly
Yeah,
doesn't.
yeah, absolutely. It's fucking crazy shit, dude.
Yeah, people out there need to over. Now you don't have to over deliver their shitty people. I mean, the reverse can happen too, but you can stand out so much easily by doing stuff on time and showing up on, doing all these little things that are actually really little and don't require much commitment, because people are so undercommitted these days that you will stand out way above them by just doing what used to be considered normal.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Old school work ethic and politeness goes a long way.
Absolutely. Well, let's wrap it up, Carlos. We've had a good talk about consistency and getting shit done. Closing remarks.
Yeah, go get some shit done. Get off this fucking call, everybody, and go. Now that you've listened and pumped up, go get some shit done.
Exactly. We should have played some Rocky music at the end of this or something. I'm going to add that in or something. Yeah.
That's awesome. Do it.
All right. Thanks, guys, for listening. And any questions, just drop them onto our Facebook page. I've got some privately, but you can write them on the page. That's great because then we'll get the notifications. It's facebook.com/Takeover Tuesday podcast. And we'll see you next week. We also like to thank Ben Sound of bensound.com for the intro, outro music, which is great. And next week, episode 11, we have dun 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 the hardcore closer, Ryan Stuman, will be on the show. So that I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yeah.
All right.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys later.
Later, guys. Bye.